I've been a hairdresser for about 10 years now. I started off as a little kid though. I grew up in a salon. Generally speaking, I see somewhere between 15 and 20 clients a day. I've got it down to a little bit of a science. There's actual dialogue I use with each and every client. So a good consultation, a difficult consultation will take me somewhere around 8 minutes, but a good consultation with a client that I've seen for years, usually 3 or 4 minutes. Someone that's a little more demanding or a little pickier about their hair, which is not a bad thing to me. You know, if you want to charge $100, $200 for a haircut, you're not going to get somebody who doesn't care about their hair. If they don't care about their hair, they're going to go to somebody who's $20 for a haircut. The dialogue's not that different. I still need to cover the same points, whether it's the length of their hair's texture, their face shape, their body posture. The difference is this: I don't know them. I don't know their hair. I don't know if they have a quirky piece on their nape that doesn't work as well as on the left side, and I don't know what they like yet. I have to learn that about them in 5 minutes. So I have to ask a few other questions about them. And the biggest question that I need to know is, what do they want to get out of their hair? Do they want their hair to be somewhat what's like now, or something completely different from where it is? Generally speaking, a new client doesn't come to a new hairdresser because they love their hair. They usually come to a hairdresser because they didn't like the hairdresser they had before. So I need to know what they didn't like so that I can create something new. It does. It takes a couple of minutes longer, but again, if you know what you need to cover, you know that you need to cover the length of the hair, you need to know what kind of texture they have, it's still not going to take that much longer. And if you use a portfolio where you actually have pictures, it makes it much quicker. When you see a client sit down, by asking a couple of questions, you already in your mind have an idea for them. So if you pull out a picture of what you're trying to create, they're much quicker to say, yes, that looks great, let's go ahead and do it, as opposed to trying to explain every single point of the haircut. Is inconsistency. You know, if you are sometimes good, sometimes great, sometimes terrible, they're going to get sick of it. You know, people like to come back because they know they're going to get a good service each and every time. If one day you give them the most outstanding service and you spend tons of time with them and walk them through everything you're doing, and you give them a new shape and they look great when they leave, and then the next time you're like, let's just trim it up, let's go back and shampoo you real quick. It's not the same experience, so they're not going to come back because they don't know which experience they're going to get the next time. It's both. It's like people who work out say, is it diet or is it working out? It's both. You can't get results out of one thing. You have to give a great service, and then you have to give a great technical service as well. If you do a lousy haircut on somebody but give them a great scalp massage, they're probably not going to come back. If you are rude to them but give them a great haircut, they're probably not going to come back. So it's both. You have to give great service as well as a great technical service. A haircut that the client likes. A great haircut is this: it doesn't have to be technically perfect, but it needs to be pretty close to perfect. The client doesn't know the difference between good and great, but they know the difference between good and bad. So you have to at least give them an above average haircut. But more than that, that above average haircut has to be suited for them. It has to be a look that makes them look great, that is designed for their style, designed for their face shape, designed for their hair's texture, something that they walk out feeling beautiful with, as opposed to something that's just technically precise. They're pretty important to me. For the biggest reason than anything is they need to be able to recreate their look. I've gotten more new clients from clients that I've done before than any billboard that we've ever put up, any ad that I've done in a magazine. The biggest billboard I've ever had is a client that walks out of the salon looking great, someone who has beautiful hair. If they do their hair beautifully at home, their friends are going to say, your hair looks beautiful every day. They're going to assume it's because of the hairdresser, not because they gave themselves a good blow dry and that they're actually good with their hair themselves. So I make sure that my clients know what I used on them, how I created the look, so that they can recreate the look at home. I did not recreate the wheel. I stole the idea from somebody else. I've stole it from everybody else. I was lucky enough growing up to be around tons of hairdressers because I grew up in the business. My mom's a hairdresser, my dad's in the industry, my sister's a hairdresser, my wife's a hairdresser, everybody's a hairdresser. So to me, I've seen a million hairdressers, and I'm not a revolutionary person that came out and came up with all these ideas on their own. What I did was this: just like every great person, when you see something great, what do? You steal it. And so you just take the ideas from someone else and you implement them. I don't believe that I came up with anything myself. I believe that I've just implemented things that other people have done. The big reason I do it every day is I went to dinner one time at a restaurant and the guys working there were all in black suits and they looked really cool. Even the guys that weren't like the best looking looked sharp, and I thought, well, you know what, that'll give me a point of difference. And it makes me look like I've got a little more authority. The guy next to me, his client, he had a new client yesterday, and she said, how often does he wear a suit? And he goes, all the time. And he goes, you know, it makes him think he is important. And she goes, well, he looks important. Absolutely. If you're a hairdresser who doesn't look good and doesn't have good hair and doesn't have a good look, why would you go to them to ask them to make you look better? Generally speaking, if I've seen lots of hairdressers out there that, you know, don't have a good haircut, they don't blow dry their hair in the morning, they don't get up and make sure they look pressed and neat and clean, and they're usually not that busy. The people that are always the busiest are the ones that look like they're important. They carry themselves well, they dress well, they have a sharp image. I mean, families in the industry. Are you related to Ed Norton? I'm like,
I